Good afternoon. Saturday this week, and I'm just going to do a short video from home. I got my 3-day weekend, so it's given me a little bit of time to do bits and pieces. And actually, having said that, I haven't really done that much. I've been doing Lego. Now, as a child, I used to adore Lego, loved it, and I've kind of got back into it again as I've got older. Apparently, I was reading this article, and it's great for, I'm not a pensioner, but it's great for people who are getting older because it keeps the dexterity in the fingers. It also, it's about problem solving, puzzle making, and that type of thing. So I thought, you know what, give it a go. So that particular one, the red telephone box, is quite a difficult one to get hold of. So I actually had to order that online, and it was sent from Lego itself, basically, and it was about $200, which isn't too bad. And yeah, it's really addictive. So, you know, I start these things, and I literally will not stop now until it's finished. So it'll probably be the early hours of tomorrow morning, basically. So, but yeah, it's really enjoyable. This week, I really wanted to talk about my weight loss journey. Now, as you all know, I've been kind of on a bit of a health kick and weight loss journey for, gosh, it must be about 4 years. And as a child, I was a big child. I had big waist. I had to have my trousers specially made for me, and well, not made for me, I actually had to have them taken out all the time, etc. There's this horrendous photo of me I remember as a child wearing some brown corduroy trousers, or pants as they say in Australia, and I looked terrible, absolutely awful. And whenever I think about stopping my health kick, I refer back to that picture because I was the fat kid at school, and it was a bloody awful time. I've spoken in the past about school and how much I hated it. And a lot of it was to do with the fact that I was overweight. So, you know, when you're doing sports, etc., it's a really difficult thing to do, and you become very insular, and you become very isolated, and you tend to distance yourself from other people. And you know, when I rack my brains and I look back at that time, and I think, well, why were you so big? I wasn't doing anything different to my brother and other kids at school. Yeah, my brother was tall, athletic, slim. He had blonde hair, I had black hair. Very sporty. That was his thing. It was the complete opposite to me. And I suppose in a way it's quite upsetting because you know, you kind of look, you're supposed to look back on your childhood with fondness. Now, don't get me wrong, there's long periods of, you know, great happiness and joy as a child. So I'm not saying everything was so bad and depressing, it wasn't. But the weight I was carrying around with me was just, yeah, it used to get me down quite a lot. And I disappeared off into my own world. And I suppose when I look back to the early, not the earliest memories, but when I sort of finished infant school and I went on to secondary school, and I began to write, and writing sort of gave me that escape. It allowed me to go into my own world, and it allowed me just to forget about all the other issues that I had going on in my life. I remember as a child going with mother to, there was this lady, and she used to live in, it was quite a way actually from my house, so we used to walk there. We walked everywhere, as this is another thing, we used to walk everywhere. Yeah, I was still overweight. Anyway, but we walked down to her house, and she used to take my clothes out, or whatever I needed doing, she used to do. Now I think her name was Mrs. Roberts, but I can't remember. And it was embarrassing, highly embarrassing for a child, having to stand there, being measured. And I think my waist the biggest my waist was, and remember I was about 11 or 12 years old, I was about a 36, 38 waist. That was big, that's huge. I mean, now I'm a 30, 32 waist. So you can see the difference immediately. Mum used to cook the best food in the world. Roast dinners. Her and my father used to grow their own vegetables in the garden, so we had fresh vegetables. As I've spoken about my childhood before, and how idyllic it was. And we'd walk from our house, we'd pick blackberries in hedgerows as we walked along, down to pick fruit near Titchfield Abbey in the village. All organic, freshly produced, not an additive or preservative in sight. As children, we didn't eat McDonald's, we didn't eat things like that. I mean, I think I may have had a Wimpy back in the day once, but otherwise not. Everything was healthy. But I'm guessing the portion sizes at that point were huge. And I remember on occasions when I had that roast, we always had a Sunday roast. And I used to help Mum, pick the vegetables. We used to have home produced runner beans, boiled beans. We'd shell peas together, and she teach me how to cook. It was wonderful, absolutely wonderful. So, thanks to Mum, God rest her soul, she taught me everything about life and how to survive. But she didn't really control my portion, so I would get the same portion sizes as my father. And I think I remember counting, oh my God, it's embarrassing, about 12 or 13 roast potatoes, My brother was very different because he would eat very little, and he was very specific about the things he wanted to eat, and they had to, they had to be perfect. He had to, so if we had one meal, he'd have something else. So all his meals were tailored to him. Whereas mine, I ate everything and anything. So I did say, I don't really know why I put on weight, but these things come back, and I'm thinking to myself, yeah, okay, portion sizes, that was the major thing. My weight made me very, very depressed. So consequently, I didn't have a lot of happy times, especially when I just started secondary school. My whole life revolved around how big I was. And I suppose, I was bullied. I was bullied at school, and bullied in the street. And it was an absolute, it was dreadful. And it scarred me for life. And it still scars me today, because looking back at those times was particularly hurtful. When I left secondary school, I also lost weight. Now, I went to college, so when I left secondary school at 16, all the way up to university, I was losing weight. I was a lot fitter, trimmer than what I ever was. But it was always a chore, and it's still a chore. I would literally have to watch everything I ate. And, for somebody who likes food, I like all food. So I like everything from basic fish fingers and chips. I love liver, bacon and onions, steak and kidney pie, roast dinners, sushi. I have a really wide palate where food is concerned. And I will try anything once. There's very little actually that I wouldn't eat again. So that just goes to show that, yeah, I love my food. I really do. So if you can imagine going through school, college, university, having to watch every tiny little thing you ate, there was only one thing I could do, and that was start smoking. Now, I probably started smoking about the age of 13, and it gradually weans me off food. And I'm not advocating smoking because it's the worst thing in the world, and it's the one thing I should never have done. I mean, today I've trimmed down and I don't smoke. But back then it was a useful tool, if you like, to watch what I ate. And my smoking increased dramatically. So when I was at school, I used to go to the little newsagents in, I think, Valentine's Close, I think it was. And I would buy 10 JPS. Actually, I think I started on Embassy, I think. And it was my dinner money. So, pay for a packet of fags, cigarettes. And I used to skip sports, and I used to smoke cigarettes and stuff like that. I wasn't a rebel, so as a child I wasn't particularly a rebel. So yeah, I smoked cigarettes, but I didn't drink. I didn't do all the bad things. So I didn't do any drugs or anything at that time. I didn't do anything like that. But I did enjoy smoking. I am constantly nagging Daryl about giving up vaping. He has actually done it now. And he was like me, a real hardened smoker. So at my height, I could smoke 80 a day, easily. And I would sit in the student union bar and I would smoke cigarettes. And then the lager, pints of beer would creep in. So again, the weight would start to creep back, and I would just have to watch myself and just be, again, mindful of what I was doing. But all the time, I would smoke incessantly, not thinking to myself, mate, what are you doing? That cigarette smoke is going to damage your lungs. But you don't think about that. All you want to do is look good, feel confident, be happy. So the smoking got to a point where I suppose I was, at the time I think they were £1.99 for a packet of 20. I started off on Marlboro Red, and then I went on to cheaper B&H Super King Red. I don't think they even do those now, to be honest. And they're about £1.99 a packet. And when you're smoking 80 a day, 2, 4, 6, 8, so that's £8 a day. Now, back in early 90s, it was probably a significant amount of money. I mean, if you bought them today, it would cost you £80 at least. But it cut me down on the food. I didn't eat so much. Yes, I had a few pints in the student union bar, but they were, what was about, God, back then, 80 pence a pint. What are they now? Gosh, probably £4 or £5 a pint. So my weight has been with me forever. Ever since I can remember, it's been a real thorn in my side, the bane of my life. And today, I have an app on my phone. I record everything I eat. I record the steps I walk. I record my sleep. I do everything I can to claw back all those unhealthy years and try and make myself healthy. Is it going to work? I don't think so. I was reading an article yesterday. It's about the actor Tony Slattery, who recently died in the UK. I didn't actually know he was gay, but apparently he was. And this poor guy, I think he had, I'm not sure what he died of, but he was a smoker. He did drugs. He drank a lot, but in recent years he had tried to stop and change his life. And yes, he did change his life. He studied a podcast and he was doing really well. That's it. And he actually sadly died of a heart attack. And from the article I read, all the years of abuse was responsible for that. So look, I changed my life dramatically out of abortion. Trim, I'm happy, I'm as healthy as I can be. Daryl constantly has a go at me for being so healthy, but it's the one thing, the addictive side of my personality, that I can use for positive effect. I'm always going to love food. I had my binge day on a Sunday. It's got slightly out of control recently, so I've had to adjust my calorie intake per day. Believe me, I've done every diet under the sun, and the only one that works is calorie control. Anything else doesn't. Control your portion sizes, control your calories, control your sugar intake. I don't have any refined sugar anymore, at all, full stop. I limit my carbs. I have increased my protein, which is great for weight loss, but it doesn't overtake the calories. So I keep within a calorie control budget of, I think it's 1,800 calories a day, and that will gradually allow me to lose that weight. I've got to go to the next level. So I've got to go to a gym, start toning up, and that will make me even happier. It took me years and years and years to get down to a decent weight. So it's going to take me an equal amount of time to decide to go to a gym, as much as I'd love to. I know everybody there is going to be fitter than what I am. And look how old I am. I'm 53, 54 years old. Surrounded by youngsters training to within an inch of their lives. Once again, that's quite, I don't know, embarrassing maybe? Makes you insular, makes you think, oh God. Look, for the rest of my days, however long they may be, I am determined to live a healthy lifestyle. It's necessary because I am now in a position to enjoy life. In the past, I wasn't always. I want to travel more. I've travelled lots, but I want to keep travelling. And I want to keep physically fit for as long as I can. And I know you're thinking, come on mate, you're okay, you're not that old. But the trauma of reaching 50 is the reason I'm feeling the way I am today. Getting older is something I detest. I hate every aspect of it. I want to be young again. Never going to happen. But look, I'm happy. I'm happy with life. It's a bit quiet. Australia's very quiet, but I am happy enough to be doing what I'm doing. So I want to do it for as long as I can. If you're trying to lose weight, don't go for fatty diets. They really honestly do not work. Weight loss drugs, that injection, is it a Ozempic? Not sure that's wise. Once you stop that drug, it's all going to pile back on. I know a friend from back in the UK who had a stomach staple. I'm not sure what it was, but they reduced the size of their stomach. They look fantastic. Absolutely amazing. That's drastic. I want to do it naturally. I want to do it the proper way. And so far, it's working. So all good. There's not a lot of walking for me today, as I said. It's just, I'm determined to finish that Lego, what's it called? The telephone box. Red London telephone box. So I'm determined to finish that by the end of today. So we'll see how that goes. And again, as you get older, keep your mind active. If you want to lose weight, control your calories. Watch the weight, watch the calories, watch the numbers. If it works for you, it works for me. And that's the best thing. Time for me to go. It's always a pleasure talking to you all. And keep your messages coming in. I love receiving your emails as well. And I love hearing from you, all of you. And if you haven't already, subscribe. So look after yourselves.